Welcome back to another episode of Infinite Value. In today's episode, we're going to talk about 4 ways to produce income as explained by Robert T. Kiyosaki's cash flow quadrant. So let's get started. If you look to your upper left hand side, you're going to see the active side. This is the employee quadrant, which means you have a job. Now there's no leverage, and this is 5% of the wealth. So the employee quadrant is a classification for people who make money by working for other people. They usually go to the office every day, work at least 40 hours in a week, and depend on a monthly salary as a primary source of income. So this means that the employee desires security and seek out a lifestyle that will provide them with this. They seek out benefits with their jobs, and they shy away from the risk and subsequently see no need to become educated in the tools of finance. Although this is not bad per se, employees rely on effort and time to make a lot of their money, and that is to earn more, they need to work more. And if your goal is to retire early, this might be difficult to achieve since you will have to work longer and harder in order to make a lot of money. Okay, so let's move down to the bottom left, which is the S, self-employed quadrant. Means you own a job. Now there's no leverage, and this is 95% of the population. People who typically have professions and own a job instead of working for other people belong to the S or self-employed quadrant. Doctors, lawyers, and other professionals who work for themselves are examples of the self-employeds. So this means that the self-employed do not like their income to be dependent upon other people. They often have a hard time finding good work because they have high standards. Independence is very important to them. Most self-employeds do make a lot of money, but like the employees, their income is directly tied to how much they work. So the moment they take a vacation or stop working, they practically earn nothing. So the proposition of Robert Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant book is that those who are aspiring to achieve financial independence must work to move from the left-hand quadrants, ENS, to the right-hand quadrants, BNI. In the BNI quadrants, income is not directly proportional to the time, effort, and money they spend. Thus, one can make a lot of money and ultimately achieve financial independence without having to work hard anymore. So, let's explain the BNI quadrants. If you look to the upper right-hand side, we're going to go to the passive side. This is the business owner quadrant, means you own a business and people work for you. They leverage and have 95% of the wealth. Those belonging to the B, business owner quadrant, own a system instead of merely owning a job. They set up a way that makes money for them even if they do not spend a lot of time in the business. They achieve this by hiring employees who belong in the E quadrant. All those in the E come work for me. Of course, when entrepreneurs start a business, a lot of time and effort is spent building it. In due time though, when the system has been properly set up, the system is said to be working. The entrepreneur can now spend less time managing the business, and yet his income is not reduced. So this means that the business owners hire competent, talented individuals and delegate as much as possible. They recognize their own inability to perform all tasks well, so they hone their ability to finding and cultivating talented people to work for them. The business people know that even if they left, they could come back to the business and find it more profitable and better running than before. Being a successful business owner requires ownership or control of systems and the ability to lead and manage people. They know how to run a system that works by delegating tasks and responsibilities to competent employees. Thus, even if they do not spend a lot of time in the business anymore, they still get to earn from it. Okay, so let's continue. If you look to the bottom right hand side, you're going to see the I, investor quadrant. Now this means money works for you and there's leverage in 5% of the population here. Those belonging to the I quadrant are called investors, and they are most adept at making money work for them, and in some cases they even use other people's money to make more money. Does anybody have a house mortgage that they're paying on? Chances are that if you are paying on a mortgage, most likely you're paying an investor. The investors mostly do not work at all. That is, they do not rely on personal time and effort to make money. They usually turn to stocks, fixed income securities, real estate, and other investment assets that produce income through capital appreciation, dividends, rental income, etc. In some cases, they merely entrust the management of these funds to competent fund managers who do the work for them. Sometimes the investors even use leverage or use other people's money in order to increase their investments, which would further increase their wealth. A good example of this is Warren Buffett. He's an extraordinary investor and has his money hard at work for him. So there you have it. This was 4 ways to produce income as explained by Robert T. Kiyosaki's Cash Flow Quadrant. If you haven't done so already, I highly recommend you get the book as soon as possible. There's a link below. And once again, thank you so much for watching, and if you enjoyed the Cash Flow Quadrant explanation, please like or subscribe. Thank you so much, and you have a great day.